Awesome. Welcome to our Body Electric weekly webinar. We are almost near the middle of May, which is pretty awesome. Tonight we're going to be talking specifically about objections, and rather than tackling this subject from behind, which is sort of like how to handle the objection, I wanted to handle it sort of from the driver's seat. In other words, how you can avoid the objections altogether to begin with. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I do have some announcements for you guys first. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I did this PowerPoint mostly so that I wouldn't forget everything that I wanted to share. Okay. So, first things first, here's some announcements for you. For Summit, if you're not in our New Orleans Summit Facebook group, I really strongly suggest that you get in there and that you turn your notifications on. Today was is the official registration day. So if you've not yet registered for Summit, today, May 10th, was the day to do that as far as registering for your track and registering for your workout. So what I would like to do is I'll be posting in that group tomorrow and asking people to share what track they're on and what workout they're doing. We're going to be doing a team lunch on Thursday of that week. The details of that should be shared very soon as well. I know that some of you guys know this already. I can't remember if I've shared it in the group yet or not, but I have some ideas for what we're going to do for Summit Apparel. Rather than have like a New Orleans, hang on, somebody messaged to make sure you guys can hear me, right? Okay, yeah. Laura, it is a Body Electric, I think it's a NOLA Summit group, so I can add you to that if you're not in there already. But basically, so what we're doing is we're looking at apparel, and this is like one of my favorite things, is I love fitness fashion. It's like sort of one of my favorite things. So I'm really picky. If you guys have a Body Electric jacket or a t-shirt, you know that I'm super picky about what I like. But I had this like brilliant idea that rather than have a New Orleans themed t-shirt or tank top, to me, those types of things kind of accumulate in your drawer. Then you end up having like 1,000 event t-shirts or 1,000 event tank tops. So what I've decided to do is, hopefully we're going to move forward. I'm going to get a sample this week from my girl that does the printing, but we're looking at some highlighter yellow or neon yellow yoga pants or workout pants that should be pretty sweet. Trust me, we're getting the sample because we have to make sure they're not see-through. We don't want any like Lululemon business going on in here. But I'm hoping to put big block lettering down the leg in black that says Coach with the Body Electric logo being the O. So they should be pretty sweet. Heather my girl is working on the design, and hopefully that sample's going to come in and I'm going to put them on and wear them for a day and make sure that they're not too anything, but I'm pretty sure they're like a thicker material, so we should be fine. Also, we're looking at a tank top as well. The tank top is going to be branded exactly like our I Believe in You t-shirts. It's just a simple workout tank. The front of it is black, the back of it is turquoise. It's like our blue color, and the front will say I Believe in You, and the back will have the Body Electric logo. So it'll be just like the t-shirt, it'll just be on a tank top version, like a workout tank top. So anyway, so those things are in the works. If you're not in the New Orleans group, let me know and I can add you. Laura, I will add you as soon as this is over. Okay, so next thing, Quarterhorse Live. I have no idea if this is sold out yet or not, but I know that several of you guys are signed up for that certification. It's going to be happening in Fishers, really close to my studio, actually, probably a stone's throw away, on August 13th. So what I would like to do is possibly schedule like a quick casual dinner afterwards, like somewhere close by, since I know that we have so many coaches that are planning on coming to that. So if you want to kind of plan for that in your planner, if you are coming from out of town and you need a place to stay, you're welcome to stay with me. As long as you don't mind doing baby duty from midnight to 5 a.m., you're welcome to come stay with me. And now I'm teasing. But anyways, if you haven't signed up yet for that, quarterhorselive.com. Okay, so here's a couple things for you guys. Yes, last night I posted in our team page a little sort of just how I'm feeling right now, just like literally how I'm feeling about our Make It Happen challenge group. I don't know about you guys, but every morning that I wake up and check into that group, I have two feelings. One is, holy cow, I don't have time to check all these notifications. And the other feeling is, oh my gosh, but how awesome is that I don't have time to check all these notifications. So hopefully you guys are feeling the same way. But when I do, I've been, allocating maybe 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night to go through and click like on people's posts. We're taking the time to check in. We want to make sure that we're checking in on our challengers. So at the very least, I hope that you guys are checking in on your people and making sure that they're staying accountable with their check-ins. But I'm getting great feedback. I've had a lot of people already message me or post in the group about how awesome the menu and all that preparation is for them. I think it takes the guessing out of it for a lot of people. So, but the other thing that I wanted to share with you is, I'm obviously still sharing today was day 3 of my Shift Shop test group experience. And I've been sharing with you guys as much as I can. I've been sharing like the different food and some videos of my workouts. I'm only going to be doing a video of the workout when I do a new workout. So today's workout was a repeat, so I didn't do a video for that. But I'm hoping to share with you guys. You guys are going to get more of a taste of what this program is all about, because I want to make sure you guys are set up for success. So I get to hear from Chris Downing every single day in that test group. So I'm really learning a lot. Like, I feel like I know a lot about why the nutrition plan is the way it is. I feel like I know a lot about the workouts themselves. One thing that I'm in love with when it comes to him is the form and technique cueing that he does. He's a stickler on the form and technique, which is pretty cool. So anyway, long story short, 2 different things. One is, at first I thought, well, I'll do a webinar, because I've already had a few coaches ask me to speak on their team calls about Shift Shop because I'm in the test group. And so I was like, cool, yeah, I should do that for my team too. And then I thought, no, like, our team should have way more information than every other team. So what I want to do is I want to give you guys more than just one summary of the program. I want to make sure that I make myself available to you guys for questions, because here's the thing. Shift Shop is going to be our new 21-day fix. It's not going to replace it, because 21-day fix is amazing, but I am telling you that the time and the effort and the precision that has gone into this program, everything, the nutrition and the fitness, is going to change the game. I think it's going to change the game for Beachbody in general. And I think it comes at good timing. So anyway, so I want to make sure that I make myself available to you guys, and that I give you every detail. And so what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to wait until after the test group was over and then answer your questions and, that sort of thing. So what I want to do is I want every other week, I'm going to either go live on the team page or our weekly webinar will be about my test group experience. So I'm going to be giving you sort of, okay, this was week 1. So next week I'll be halfway through, because it's a 3-week program. They're having us do it twice. So it's really 6 weeks. But the first half will be completed by next Wednesday. So next week's webinar, I'll be talking all about, the first 10 days of the program. Also, I'm putting together, I've already started working on a prep group. It'll be a 60-day, very similar to our Body Electric running, that whole like running cross-training group. I'm putting together a Shift Shop prep group. So the goal is to start that on June 5th with the goal of being ready for launch so that people can dive right into it when it launches. I think it's most similar to some of the harder core exercises in 22-minute hardcore. It's very similar to Insanity Asylum. Like, these workouts will make you feel like you're gonna puke. So I wanna make sure that we get people like ready, right? So if this is going to be a program that I guarantee you guys, people are gonna see it on an infomercial and they're gonna be like, I wanna look like that, and those moves look fun, and that guy's motivating, and they're gonna buy it, and they're not gonna do it because the first time they press play, they're gonna puke in their mouth like I did. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that our current challengers who have access to BOD know about this program, that they know about this prep group. We also want to make sure that other people who, like, I know right now people are following my journey with it. And like, I had a lady reach out to me today who, like, she's been in other groups of mine. I know she's not in the right shape to do the Shift Shop, like, in my opinion. So I want to make sure people know that they do need preparation before they dive into Shift Shop, in my opinion. Okay, so the day 1 of Shift Shop is like, sorry, it's going to happen at some point, The first day of Shift Shop, which is day 1, day 3, and day 5, is as intense as like a Friday fight Insanity, right? Like, I mean, it's max 30, like, it's intense. So if someone sees my progress and, my journey and my before and afters, and they see my food, they're like, I want to do the Shift Shop, I need a shift. Awesome. Well, you're going to barf on the first day. So we need to get you prepared and ready, and you need to be having some intensity in your life before this program enters your world. They need to be ready for it. So anyways, so I'm going to have Ashley create us some images to use, because I have access to all of the Shift Shop logos as part of the test group. So this is like I hope you guys realize this is a thing that not very many other people are able to do, right? Like there's only a couple hundred of us in the test group. So out of several thousand coaches, 200 of us have access to these logos, have access to the program. So I feel like we have a leg up, we have an advantage, right? So if you are someone who's on multiple social media platforms, if you have a blog, be blowing up the Shift Shop. Like use that in your keywords, use that in your hashtags, and we can really hype this one up and get some good, kind of make it like a make it happen part 2. So I'm excited for it. Okay, so let's dive into the no objections topic for tonight. Some of you guys may have heard me speak on this topic before, but I know it's been a while and I wanted to bring it back because I feel like, when I have one-on-one calls with coaches, this is something that comes up often, especially for newer coaches. So I wanted to make sure we address this. Make sure you tag your coaches in this when the recording is posted tomorrow too. So the main takeaways for tonight, as we dive into how to handle objections, right, from the driver's seat, in other words, how to prevent objections in the first place, I want you to take away 3 main things. The first one is that combating objections before they happen is the best way to handle them. So if you get to the point in a conversation with someone where an objection has been raised, it's almost like it's too late to close the sale, right? Like it's too late now, because now you have to kind of backtrack and combat that objection. I've always had a pet peeve with summit trainings and videos that people put out on how to handle objections. How about just don't get the objection to begin with? That's my feeling on it, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. So that's our purpose for tonight. The second thing is building value into your brand so that you don't receive them. And then last but not least, blessing and releasing those who say no. I want that to be a main takeaway for you. If someone says no, or someone does not necessarily give you an excuse as to why they can't do your challenge group, but if they just say no or not right now, don't take it personally. Just bless and release it, and know that most likely those people will come back. They'll come back full circle the more committed and consistent that you stay in your business. So the first thing that I thought of was, okay, so what are like the 3 main, hang on, did I skip a slide? Yeah, I did. How did I get there? Okay. Oops. Okay. So I thought this to myself. I thought, okay, so what are the 3 most common objections that we get as coaches? And I think you guys would agree that this is probably, I might be missing 1 or 2. We can talk about that at the end. But these are the 3 main. And, cost is obviously a huge one. A lot of people who don't have the education about Shakeology, who don't understand nutrition, don't understand why they would spend $100 and some on Shakeology as opposed to, say, a GNC shake or a whey protein shake from Walmart, right? So in other words, the objection that we hear often is it's too expensive, or I can't afford that right now. That's probably the main one. The second one is just timing related. They might say this isn't the right time for me, or I don't know if you guys have heard this. This is the one that I get all the time, is I have to check with my husband, and then they come back and the husband says it's not the right time, right? That happens a lot. And then last but not least, confidence related. So this is, I think, in my opinion, that confidence, at least in my experience, my personal experience, I get the confidence objection more often than any other. I will tell you that I don't get a lot of objections. Most of the time when I have conversations, by the time we get to the conversation where we're talking about my challenge group and the value I have to offer, I don't really get objections. But if I do, it's usually related to confidence. They don't think they can do it. They don't think that they're physically able for that level of fitness, or they don't have the sort of the right self-talk, right? They don't have positive self-talk going on. And so they doubt themselves, or doubt the fact that they can stay motivated, self-motivated enough to work out from home. So those are probably the most common objections that I hear. Hopefully you guys agree with that. Those are what I want to kind of dive into a little bit more tonight. So let's talk about how you can combat these objections proactively, how to keep them from happening. So what I like to do is very similar to what I do coach to coach, right? So in other words, I hear you guys on one-on-one calls telling me that you're getting objections. So what am I doing? I'm trying to proactively teach you how to combat these objections so that I don't get that topic brought up on a call, right? So I'm doing the same thing when I'm coaching you guys. I'm thinking about things that are coming up, constant themes that I'm hearing on our team, things that need to be addressed, right? Those are the types of things that you should also be paying attention to, like in your social media. So if people are constantly telling you it's too expensive or they can't afford it right now, maybe dive into, okay, think about, what am I posting on social media? How am I sharing these types of things? How am I sharing the value that it has to offer? And how am I sharing the value that I have to offer? Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about the product so much as the experience that you are providing. In my opinion, if I didn't have Shakeology to sell and I didn't have Beachbody On Demand, I still think that what I have to offer equates to $160. I believe that. Right? I believe that. I believe that. Do you know how much money someone pays a nutritionist or pays somebody to write out a meal plan or, to provide a grocery list? Like these things that we're doing in our Make It Happen group, people pay big bucks for that kind of stuff. I actually had someone reach out to me today. She can't join my gym because she travels a lot. She wanted to know how much it would cost for me to create this, basically exactly what I'm doing in a challenge group. How, could you create some workouts for me to take on the road? And could you also help me with my grocery list and my menu for the week and with meal prepping? Yeah, you should probably just join my challenge group. It's way cheaper than what you would pay me to do that, right? So I still feel like the value that I have to offer as a coach is $160 worthy, right? Even without the products themselves. So you have to believe that about yourself and what you bring to the table. So the types of things that I've done, and you guys maybe even have seen some of these posts recently, I've talked about how much I'm spending on my groceries, right? It's a common thing. I'll use role play. I literally had a conversation with the cashier at the grocery store last weekend. And so I put that into my post because I wanted it to be relatable. I don't know about you guys, but those types of posts always go over well. People really want to read that sort of like dialogue where it's like what the cashier says and then what I said or whatever, people like those types of posts. So I did that. I was like, this is how much I spent on my groceries, and it was all healthy eating and whatever. And I want people to know that they need to be aware of how much they're spending on their grocery bill or how much, before they're going to say how expensive it is, they need to know what they're spending. And most people don't. So I'm trying to educate and add value by educating. So other things you can do is you can break down the cost of your Shakeology. You can even compare it to a common vice, right? Like comparing it to a Frappuccino, comparing it to whatever else is out there that people like to spend money on. I had someone tell me the other day that they called it what do they call it? Those like gas station soda pop, like the fountain soda, whatever, they called it their like Swig and Coke. And they were like, oh, I get my Swig and Coke every day. Comes in like the Polar Pop thing, right? Do you know how much money they're spending on that versus Shakeology? And they don't even recognize. That's the same exact type of person who might tell you Shakeology is too expensive. So if you can kind of make them have the aha moment because of your post about it, right? If you can be talking about it proactively, then you're going to combat those objections later in a conversation. So also wanted to mention, I never share the price of my challenge group, ever. They're going to see the price when they get the order in their inbox. That's the way I feel about it. And I feel like by the time it gets to that point, they already know the value that I have to offer. So they're not even, in a lot of cases, guys, I really feel like people don't even look. They're so sold on it, right? It's just like if you see a handbag that you really want, this doesn't happen to me, but for me, it's Nikes. But like if you see a pair of shoes you really want or a purse you really want, like if you really want it, you're going to find a way to make that work, right? Like you're going to find a way to buy that. So it's more of a matter of priority and what people value versus the actual cost. And so I don't even mention the price of my challenge groups. I don't mention it in my social media posts especially. And when someone asks me, like if I get a message from someone that says like, hey, how much is it to join your group? I don't answer it right away. I write back and say something to them like, hey, I'm happy to answer your questions. I'd like to learn more about your goals. And I get them to the point where they realize that in that conversation that they need what I have, that I'm making it simple for them. They know the value that I'm bringing, and they know everything that's included in the package. So after they know that, and after they get excited and they say, okay, great, what's the cost? I say, I'm happy to generate this order to your inbox. The total is $160. That includes everything we've talked about. I would say 9 times out of 10, people respond with, oh, wow, that's awesome, right? Because I've hyped up the value of what they're going to be getting. Okay, so I don't want to dwell on that too long, but Live streaming, so authenticity rules. This is something that I have vowed. I told Amy this week, okay, I'm just gonna start live streaming again. Even though I don't wash my hair, but like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I need to start live streaming, and I need to start really sharing value, because I feel like I have a lot of stuff to offer, right? Not even having to do with Shakeology, not even having to do with Beachbody On Demand. I think sometimes as coaches, we get hung up on, okay, if I'm going to live stream, like what should I live stream about that pertains to Beachbody? And instead, I don't want you to think about that. I want you to think about how you can leverage yourself. Like, what areas of expertise do you have? For me, it might be the realm of like personal growth. That's a huge thing for me. I love that. I should be doing more of that on my social media. I should be doing more live streaming on my social media. So think about what types of things that come naturally to you that you could talk about that would help people and add value to them. That's going to make you an expert in their eyes. So I don't know if you guys, those of you in the March Madness training, I posted a video in there today of Coach Tulin. She does an even better job of talking about this exact topic. So check that out. And then last but not least, inviting someone to a free group first. Not very many people are going to say, no, thanks, I don't want your free help. Right? So getting someone into a free group is going to be a great way to transition them so that they kind of get that sneak peek of what it means to be in your full-on challenge group. Okay, so moving on. So ways to build value in your brand, right? Becoming an expert in a field that matters to you. I do want to shout out Sarah Eck for her recent, I think she said she stayed up until 3 a.m. a couple weeks ago, creating her, what is it, like baby food cookbook, right? So this is something that she and I had a conversation about months ago. I was like, girl, you are so good at like cooking and this whole like organic baby food thing with Sawyer. I was like, people, I mean, for me, like I'm interested in that, right? Like I'm at the point now in my mom life where I want to figure out what, how's she making the baby food? How's she preserving it? Like I have all these questions and I don't really want to Google it. So if she's gonna have this cookbook, I will buy it from her. And I told her that. I said, this is gonna be a great way for you to kind of become an expert in a field and get referrals for that topic, right? Like if I buy that cookbook and then I tell my other mom friend that this friend of mine has this awesome baby food cookbook, then she's gonna start to grow her network that way. So by doing that, you're building value for people, you're adding value to people in another way. Even if it has nothing to do with health and fitness, even if it's like in my realm, even if it's personal growth. Okay, so treat Shakeology as a non-negotiable in your life and share that often. This whole concept of the Shakeology 365er, the golden scoop, all that kind of stuff, that is brilliant marketing from Beachbody's perspective, because it gets people sharing their consistency. So how many times have you, maybe even you, have posted your golden scoop or your 365er and you're super proud of that? And there's probably a lot of people on your social media that don't even realize that you're drinking it every day, right? Like you haven't shared it until you get the golden scoop. So my point here is to say, treat it like it's a non-negotiable in your life. For me, every time I share my shake on social media, it's gonna have the same hashtag, right? Like daily dose of dense nutrition, or maybe like day 162. Like I'm gonna indicate that it's an everyday thing for me. I'm gonna indicate that it's not just a weight loss thing for me and that it's a health choice for me. So I don't know why I doubled that Sarah Eck thing, except for I guess I just wanted to give you a double shout out, girl. I guess I copied and pasted that twice. But anyways, okay, so back to the live streaming. I wanted to give you guys some suggestions on maybe some topics that could be in your wheelhouse. Because if you're a coach, you've obviously found success in what we have to offer. And so most likely those are things that you know more about than your potential customer. So I saw Liz Dew posted recently on a couple different places that she has a way of making these healthy Lunchables. So they kind of look like a Lunchable. Her kids take it to school, but instead of being processed cheese and processed meat and white crackers, she's putting together like grapes and, I don't know, like, you can ask her, like some sort of like nitrate-free turkey. I don't know what it is, but she's putting it together. So why not live stream about how you put together healthy Lunchables for your kids, right? Will other moms who see that subject maybe watch your video? Maybe, right? But live streaming is the way to go because people can see you. They can resonate with you in that way. So meal prepping, I've done that before where I've shown some glimpses into how we meal prep. I've also done live streams where I say like, help me finish this workout. It's a real struggle. They don't have to know that I wrote that in there and had my video ready to go before I press play. But when I get down to the last 2 minutes of the workout, I hit live stream, and I want them to help encourage me or watch me push and struggle through that last 2 or 3 minutes of the workout. So does that make sense? Like things that are going to intrigue people to watch, but are also ways for you to build value in people and to show your credibility as a coach. Okay, so when coaches tell me that they're receiving no for an answer or not right now, because most of the time we don't hear no, we hear not right now, I have to ask the question, do you know each person's pain point? So every person who's telling you no, do you know what their pain point is? Because if you don't know that money could be an issue before they bring up money as an issue, that's the problem. Right? You haven't quite built up that relationship in a solid enough fashion, or the trust in a solid enough fashion to even close a sale. So if we know someone's pain point, then we can lead with it. And that's what I want you guys to know. And that's kind of what I want you to take away from this as well, is leading with that pain point is combating the objection before it happens. So if someone reaches out, a lot of times they will self-divulge this information without you even asking. You know, I'm sure you guys have received messages where people are like, hey, tell me more about your challenge group. I'm really interested. I've been following you for a while, but I'm just not sure I can make this work because XYZ. So they're leading with their pain point, right? So why not lead back with that pain point? You have a conversation, you ask them about their health goals, you ask them how much time per day they have to commit, blah, blah, blah. You go through those normal conversation questions with your potential customer. And then at the end you say, you lead with that, right? Like, I know you said your time is limited right now with your full-time job and being a new mom. I understand. Would it be helpful if I provided you with a weekly menu and grocery list that would save you time? And do you think that you could fit in 22 minutes a day? So do you see what I mean? Like, if this person's pain point was time, and they said right from the get-go, I just don't know if I'm going to have the time to commit to this group, why not lead with that when you go to close the sale, when you go to close that conversation? Why not say, I know your time is limited, but I'm making this super easy for you because here's what I'm providing, here's the value I'm bringing, and I totally think that you can do this in 30 minutes a day or whatever. In my opinion, when we don't do that and we don't acknowledge their pain point, that's when they're more likely to really get into it, right? It's sort of like when you're shopping, a lot of women do this. I'm not so bad at this, but I know my mom is, and a lot of other women. When you're shopping and you like fill your arm with clothes, like you see all these cute things, and then when you go up to the register, you're like, oh, I shouldn't get all of this, right? So you like start putting things back because you start to feel guilty. People have that exact same feeling when you're having a conversation with them about their health and fitness. They don't necessarily, like, it goes back to that confidence thing. They might not think that they're worth it. They might not think that they're worth that amount of money for a challenge group investment. They might think, oh, I'm not going to have the time anyway. I won't succeed anyway. All these different voices are coming up in their head. So why not acknowledge that voice in their head? So try to uncover what that is. Try to uncover what their pain point is, and then lead with it. Acknowledge it and try to get them to overcome it. Okay, so solve their problem, not the world's problem. And this is just as important as what I just said. Too often we are posting and we are branding ourselves as obesity trend enders. And I think we are, but I think that it's a common misconception because even my mom today was like, I don't understand why she watched me meal prep my salad for tomorrow. And so I was like measuring out shredded carrots, you know, I'm sure she thinks I'm crazy. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is part of my thing. This is literally, Mom, I'm getting paid to do this. That's what I told her. And I said, and so she's like, but you don't have to lose weight. And so even my mom, who sees what I'm doing, right, she thinks that like all I do is help people lose weight. And so that tells me, okay, then I need to make sure that I'm solving individuals' problems through those private conversations and through the value that I'm adding publicly, and not just the world's problem. I'm not just talking about obesity or weight loss. I'm talking about every possible thing that I encounter. So I'm talking about confidence. You'll see my post tonight is a picture of my new shoes. And I didn't say anything about my new shoes, but they are new shoes. So I posted a picture of my new shoes, getting ready to work out. And I just said, I love the way healthy feels. Confident, strong, in control, right? And I want people to, why did I post that? Because I want people who recognize their own lack of confidence to say, I wonder if what she's doing would help me feel more confident. That's the whole reason why I posted what I posted, right? So I'm proactively solving their problem, but I'm not just assuming that everybody's in this for the weight loss, because I know I'm not in it for the weight loss, right? Okay, timing. So number one, this should be a pretty quick covered topic here. Use a deadline to your advantage. So you guys hopefully have a start date for your groups or for our team-led groups. Set a deadline. You know, hey, I'm following up with you today because today is the last day to get on board with this challenge that I have happening, blah, blah, blah. Use dates and deadlines to your advantage. And here's the other thing. Use promotions to your advantage. So this drives me crazy when coaches say, but the 22-minute hardcore challenge pack isn't on sale this month. Or, you know, what happens in August when the Beachbody On Demand challenge pack goes back to $200? People are going to be like, well, this month's going to be hard because the price went up. And it drives me nuts because your customer does not know that it was on sale for $160. And if you believe that you have value to add and you believe that you can change this person's life in a challenge group, it's worth $199 too, right? So everything is always on sale. So when you're talking to people, it's always on promotion, right? It's always on promotion. Whether Beachbody has it as a promotion or not, it's at a severely discounted rate, no matter what, in the challenge pack form, and because they're getting you as their coach. That's the value that they're getting in addition to the product. Okay, so confidence. This is probably the most important thing, and I wanted to make sure I give you guys some, I don't like to use the word scripts, but just some ideas of things that you can say. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate our conversations, or we overcomplicate our language. And so what I want you to do going forward is I want you to, when you're having these conversations with people, I want you to be thinking about how, like, you know, you're now looking and listening for that pain point, right? Like when you're having these conversations, you're listening for that pain point. And when you find it, it might not be super evident. It might just be in the language that they use. You know, things like ifs, if I can do this, or if I'm able, or maybes, or, you know, I don't even know. I can't think right now off the top of my head, but you guys know what I mean. Like, think about the language that they're using. And if they seem hesitant, it could relate back to confidence. I have found so often that if you really boost somebody up, right? If you flatter them, it's just like they're over the moon. Like their confidence surges. I'm sure there's some sort of like, you know, I'm sure it's like their serotonin like explodes or something in their mind or whatever. But like, I've seen that happen for sure. Like that's been my number one tactic when it comes to recruiting coaches, is just to say like, you're a perfect fit for this. I'm in a group right now with Carl Deichler, which is super intimidating. But he has us doing these invites every day. And the other day, the image that he posted said, you are perfect for this. And he addressed the issue of confidence in coaches, right? Feeling like we are adequate to lead other people, feeling like we can help other people in their health and fitness. And I thought to myself, that's so brilliant. Why aren't we telling our customers this? Why aren't we telling our customers, you are perfect for this group that I have coming up? Why aren't we saying that? Or why aren't we saying, I know this group would be an awesome fit for you. Based on what you've told me and the types of struggles that you have, I know this would be perfect for you. I reached out to a girl who told me not right now about 2 weeks ago. And I said, hey, I'm circling back. I know it's only been a couple weeks, but I know you mentioned she actually had a little bit of a confidence issue. And I said, I know that you were a little bit worried about committing to the group, but I said, I wanted to just let you know that I think that this next group I have would be a great fit for you. Like it's going to be perfect for you. And I want you to reconsider because I'm going to be offering the menu. And I went through all that kind of stuff. Right. And so she wrote back and she was like, okay, let me think on it tonight and I'll get back to you. Right. Nothing changed. Like I still provide the same challenge group experience no matter what, but the only difference is now I've instilled confidence in her and I've told her that the group I have is going to be a perfect fit. Are you guys picking up on that? That's the only difference. Okay. So here are some other things. Saying something like, I know this is exactly what you need. Will you give it a shot? Right? I know this is exactly what you need. I purposely capitalized exactly. And then also, no better time than now. Let's do this. Yes. That's something that I say all the time. Like, there's no better time than right now. Are you ready to rock and roll? Or are you ready to do this? And the reason I'm using this type of language is because you see where I'm almost making up for their lack of confidence? Like I'm almost making up for it by being super confident in them. So this is what we do as coaches. We believe in people before they believe in themselves. But a lot of times our language doesn't come across that way. It comes across more like, are you interested in my group? Or circling back to see if you might be ready for my group, right? Like that's not, like they're like, nah, you know, they kind of fall back to that, putting those clothes back on the shelf. So I think if you guys can close it with a stronger, more confident close, especially, you know, confidence in them, you're less likely to receive that objection. Okay, and then last but not least, blessing and releasing. I've been getting some messages from folks that are just like, I had a message the other day that was like, this girl was so close to moving forward with the challenge pack. I even added her to the challenge tracker, and then she decided at the last minute she didn't want it because she could, I don't even know. It was like she got a bum copy off of her coworker and whatever, you know. Okay, my response to that is after you know, I don't know how long I've been doing this, 7 years. After 7 years in the business, bless and release, right? Bless and release. There are people out there who want what you have and who need what you have. And if someone doesn't understand that value, then move on. Move on. If they want to get a bum copy off of Amazon and try to succeed on their own, you can wish them the best of luck, right? But they just didn't see the vision that you have. So be thinking about, okay, what could I have done differently to express that vision better? Because they obviously didn't see the value in what I had to offer. So anyway, so if you do get an objection at the end of the day where someone brings up cost or timing or confidence, go back through that conversation and say, where could I have proactively addressed this? Could I have found that pain point sooner so that I could have led with that pain point and avoided this objection? Cool. Quick drink. Okay. So in summary here, the idea of everything we've talked about tonight is to have such a solid brand for yourself of adding value to people that no one questions your worth as their mentor or their guide in the realm of health and fitness. When that happens, when no one questions your credibility and no one questions the experience you're going to provide, the road to yes becomes easier and results happen. Results happen for them. They get to join groups like the ones we have right now that are for sure changing lives, and it changes your business and your life as well. I have the awesome advantage of being on these elite mastermind calls. I just had one today and it blows my mind. I'm on there with Amber Kuiper, who's like number 18 in the network right now. I'm on there with Janelle Summers was on there for a while, Tanya Barron, like lots of big name coaches. And every week the corporate guy asks, like he presents a topic and then he literally just mutes himself and we all talk about it and he just takes notes. And so that's basically what it is. And so last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about free groups. This week we talked about sneak peeks. And so we just kind of get to hear like what other people are doing and what is constantly, what's so funny to me is that these coaches that are sort of like this next level coach, right? These like multiple time elite coaches, top coaches, their constant answer is, well, I run sneak peeks for my team so that I can do the talking for them. Or I run free groups for my team so that they have something to invite to. And so Joe, the corporate guy, keeps coming back to us and he's like, okay, but what do you do? Like, what do you do specifically? And all of us have the same answer, which is, I don't know. I don't have to because people come to me. Right? And I'm not sharing that with you because I want you to feel like, oh, great. Yeah, that means, you know, whatever. I don't want you to feel negative about it. I want you to just realize like, that's so true. Like people are coming to me because they now see me as a mentor and guide in the world of health and fitness. They see me as that through my brand on social media. They see me in that as that through the confidence that I have in what I'm doing. And so when that happens, then there are no objections. People just want to be a part of your inner circle. They want to be a part of your tribe. They want to be part of these groups that you talk about, but you have to stand up and do them every single day. That has to be consistent. You have to be combating objections in advance. If you hear something from somebody, I used to do this, you guys, like 5 years ago. If someone told me something specific Even like the cashier on Sunday, the thing that I posted on Sunday, I'd address it. Like I address it. And I've had people say before, well, what if you're friends with the cashier on Facebook? And I'm like, I am friends with her on Facebook, right? Like, and I'm addressing it publicly, because if that person has an objection, if that person says, quote, I can't afford these healthy groceries, someone else is thinking that. And that's a potential objection that I could get down the road. And I don't want to get that objection. So I'm going to address it now. Right? And so is it going to be everybody's cup of tea? No, right? And I probably could do it in a little bit of a more reserved manner than I do, but that's part of my brand. So anyways, so think about, okay, what are the things that I'm constantly hearing? What are the things that are coming up for me? I'm going to start tackling those. I'm going to live stream about those things. I'm going to post about those things, right? Get creative. One last thing here is my success partner is Erin Young. And this is something that she and I have been talking about recently. And I just have to, I actually told her I would share this with her afterwards, but I have to shout her out because she's been doing an exceptional job in the last couple weeks of doing this exact same thing. So you can check out her Facebook page to see what I mean. But she posted last night, I think it was, like an awesome post about the cost of Shakeology and the cost of health and fitness. And she's done some live streams too. So she's doing this exact same thing. And if you want to be at that top level, if you want to get to the point where people are reaching out to you and they see you as a mentor and guide, they don't question your value, you have to do this sort of thing. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to combat the objections proactively through the value that you have to offer, especially in your public following. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? Or did I miss anything? Is there another objection that I couldn't see you through that whole thing because I can only see my PowerPoint. So I'm glad that I see you now and that you're not asleep or gone. But is there anything that I didn't cover that you'd like to chat about, or anything, any questions?
Jenny, I was just going to add, I don't know if you can hear me.
Can you hear me, Jenny?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to add the confidence thing that you were talking about towards the end. Proof of that, I think I've seen evidence of that this month with just having more confidence in my brand and what my vision is as a coach, and just in general, what I want to do with my life and fitness and health. And I've had people coming out of the woodwork in the past few weeks that I thought had zero interest, were not following me, anything. And all of a sudden they're like, I've been thinking of approaching you. And this is not something that happened to me 3 months ago. And I know it's because of the shift of my attitude and confidence. So it does help to really believe in yourself and your brand, and people, the more that they see it, the more that they're going to believe.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of times, there's that whole, Brene Brown has a whole video somewhere on this that I've seen. The story, she calls it like the story in our head versus the story that's in someone else's head. And sometimes we don't connect them. Right now we're talking about this in the mastermind, the last chapter where John Maxwell talks about connecting with people logistically, emotionally, and visually. And I think that sometimes that's where the disconnect happens. Like, we are thinking, gosh, I really believe in this person and I really think they do great. And I think this group would be a perfect fit given what they've told me. And the story in their head is, I can't do this. I don't have time. I don't have the money, right? But what we as the coach have to connect those two things, and we have to address them. And we have to say, I know you might be feeling like whatever we think they're feeling. But I just want you to know that I totally believe in you, and I think this would be a great fit, and I think you should go for it, right? Like, we have to kind of cross that barrier and say, I'm going to bring this out in the open, and this is the story that's in your head, and this is the story that's in my head, and I think that you should trust me and go with me as your mentor in this. Does that make sense? Too often someone says no, or they give us that objection, and we just are like, okay, and we might add them to our follow-up list, and that's fine. But I think a lot of times we're passing up an opportunity to just, and it's so uncomfortable to kind of like take that next step and be like, no, wait, Judy, you told me that you needed this, right? Like, we've already found her pain point. Like, we know you need this. Like, you don't want to follow the trajectory of your mom and dad and all these things you've told me. Like, you don't want to do, sometimes we as a coach don't want to go there, but we have to. We have to be the one that says, wait a minute, didn't you just tell me that this was important to you? And by calling people out, sometimes you could ruffle feathers. Those people circle back. And sometimes you could ruffle them enough to realize that they need to do this. So that's the hard part of what we do. It's something that Carl's been talking about in the group that I'm in with him. He's really been like kind of drilling into that, like being the person who has the hard job, being the person, like a doctor who has to tell the patient that they have to lose weight, right? Like that has to feel bad. Like that has to feel hard for the doctor. Have you ever thought about that? Like that has to feel really hard to be like every day, like going in and out of appointments, telling people they have to lose weight, telling people they have to change their diet, telling it, and we're not doctors, so we don't have to do that. We don't have to say you have to lose weight or you need to lose weight. That's what a doctor says. But we as coaches can say, I have a tool and a solution for what you've been told. I have a tool and a solution for what you don't want to be told, right? So that's the difference. And I think sometimes we're too afraid to do that. We're too afraid to combat the objection early in advance, and we're too afraid to combat it when we get it. So I'm glad you said that. Can you guys tell that I'm like, I think that my body's in, they're saying it's in ketosis because we have like no carbs. So it's like, I feel like I'm on an adrenaline rush. So, okay, so any other questions about this subject? And when we're done with this, I want to run something by you guys. Bueller? Okay, so real quick, I don't think I can like stop recording, so I'll just keep it recorded. But basically, I had an idea today when I was on this elite mastermind when we were talking about sneak peeks. And the common theme that I was hearing from these top coaches was, I don't know, I got to figure this out. Like sneak peeks aren't working well for me. Facebook events, if we can't get people on live or whatever, everybody had different reasons for why things don't work. And so it wasn't my turn until the very end. And so I was just like thinking like, okay, well, what can I say? And what can I, cause I feel the same way. Like, I feel like we've had Facebook events, sneak peeks that are just like, I don't know, maybe like 20% effective. I don't know. And it has nothing to do with the content. I think it's the delivery, right? People just don't want to commit to 9 to 10 p.m. on a random Tuesday night. So what I was thinking was, I had this brilliant idea that I think we might try if you guys are down, especially because of this Make It Happen group, and especially because we have the Shift Shop group coming up. I was thinking that why don't we run like a 3 or 5 day sneak peek in the My Challenge tracker in a separate group. So in other words, we would tell our challenge group about this thing, right? Like we have the capability, and that's the power of these team-led groups, is that we have the power to control the energy, right? Like I noticed today that like 15 people liked somebody's Shakeology check-in, and I clicked on it and it was like 14 of those 15 people were coaches. Like we have the power to bring those likes and those comments and that energy. So I thought, why not use that to our advantage? And I would say maybe like late next week or something, start advertising to do like a 3 or 5 day sneak peek into what coaching is in a different group in the My Challenge tracker. When people would just comment and say, yeah, add me, whatever, or we could tag our people and see if they want it added. And then in the actual My Challenge group, we could just use, I know that we have some Body Electric like already recorded YouTube videos, or we could, if you guys feel like you want to do one, upload it to the Body Electric YouTube channel, and we could just be dropping those in there. Like we could do them as scheduled posts. And that way we don't have to worry about doing something live. So we don't have to worry about our own time commitment, and we don't have to worry about people making it on for a certain set time. So I was just thinking it might be a cool way to do that, especially because we control the energy of that group, and we could probably get some people on there and interested in upgrading to coach and paying it forward, especially if they're seeing results. We're getting great feedback in that group, so I think it would be a great opportunity to move them up. So what do you guys think? You like that idea? Yeah, they're already going to be in the My Challenge tracker, so it would just be a different group, like 1 post a day or 2. It would be simple. They wouldn't have to necessarily check in with their shakes and stuff, right? They would just have to check in on the post. So it would just be an avenue. I think Facebook is too tricky. So, all right, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start to create a plan for that. My hope would be to probably maybe like the final 5 days of this 21-day group. Do it instead of doing it after, like do it while the energy's still hot. And then maybe we can start advertising. I can put that into some of the scheduled posts next week just to try to ramp it up and get people excited. So awesome. If you do not have if you feel called to share your story on video or something about coaching that you feel like needs to be covered, let me know and I can give you the Body Electric YouTube credentials and you can record your video and then we can get you on the schedule for the sneak peek. Cool.
Hey, Jenny.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw out there, can we maybe also focus on it being geared towards people that might be discount coaches looking at the coaching opportunity as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's a good thing too. The more that people see kind of what we do, I feel like the more open they are to the business.
Well, yeah, and as I was saying today, I kind of had this epiphany today and I shared this on that mastermind call. I said, Joe was like, well, that's a brilliant idea. He's like, why haven't we thought of that before? And I said, I don't know. And I said, I really think it would be a good way to transition people because this particular group is like the work is already done, right? Like the menus are done, the grocery lists are done. And so the people that are experiencing this group are experiencing the fact that there's probably 50 coaches leading this group together. It's not something, this business is not something that they sign up for and have to do on their own, right? They don't have to host their own party or have their own group or do their own, like they can come in as part of Body Electric and have access to all of that. And I think that should definitely be one of the topics covered is the resources that we have, the team-led groups and that sort of thing. So, so Joe was like, yeah, that's a smart idea because then people will see how easy it is, right? Like, or I could try this out, or I could test the waters, or I could probably pay this forward and invite my aunt or invite my friend, right? Like keep it simple and get them thinking about people who've asked about their results or people who have, that they think might benefit from a group like this and have them reach out and say, hey, we're running this same type of thing again. Do you have anybody that might want to join into it? Why not become a coach and help pay it forward? So, okay, cool. All right, so you guys reach out to me if you want to do a video, and if we don't already have one for you on the Body Electric channel. I'll put together the dates for that, and I'll post that in the team page as well in the weekly announcements. So next week, team webinar, I'm covering Shift Shop. I'm going to give you all the details of nutrition plan, workouts, anything you want to know, Q&A. So sounds good. Have a good night. Bye-bye. As Ellery says, bye-bye.